It's pretty sad sometimes that as Christians we lack prayer, and that ought not to be. It shouldn't be that way. Another thing is just the lack of dependence. Another thing is the denial of sin. That's pretty prideful of us sometimes, that we think, oh, what, I don't have sin in my life. I'm okay. And another thing that pride shows in our lives is that sometimes you don't give God the glory for the things we get to accomplish. And we should remember that when we accomplish things, we've only accomplished it because God allowed it to be. And a simple cure would be for us to stay humble. And I just want to show you just a couple verses as far as things to remember when our thinking is flawed, when we think that we're okay without God. If you want, you can go to Colossians chapter 1, verse 17. It says, "And he is before all things, and by him all things consist." If it wasn't for God, none of us would be here. None of us would be able to take a breath, because all our breath comes from God. So we're depending on every breath that we take. We're depending on God. And sometimes we forget that God is even present in our lives. So we ought to remember that God is always there, that we need God. Another thing to remember is in 1 Thessalonians 5:16, where it says, "Pray without ceasing." Another thing is Mark chapter 1, verse 35, how it talks about Jesus early in the morning going to God in prayer. If the God of this universe took time to pray, how much more should we? I mean, we're mere mortal beings, and we're flawed. We're imperfect. So we need God so much more. And sometimes, another thing that I just want to mention to you is that denial of sin. And a solution for that would be 1 John 1, 8 and 9. I think it's a pretty famous passage that a lot of Christians know. It says that if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So when we think that we're okay without God, when we think we don't have sin, just remember that 1 John 1, 8 and 1, 9. We all have sin, and we all fall short of God's glory. So we ought to remember to keep a short account of sin, and to forsake it, and to return to God, ask God for forgiveness. And the one thing I want to show you, another one, is when we don't give God the glory, remember that we only get to accomplish things when God allows us to accomplish things. And we ought to give God the glory when we do get things accomplished. In 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 31, it says that according as it is written, "He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord." So the simple cure for pride will be to stay humble, be clothed with humility, and for to stay humble, the verse I picked is found in James chapter 4, verse 10. It says, "Humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up." Obviously, Haman didn't do that. Haman was so lifted up in pride that he truly lived out Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." We know that God hates pride, and by the time Haman found out that God hated pride, it was too late. And for Christians, hopefully it's not too late for us to know that sometimes we do have pride in our lives, and sometimes we do feel prideful. And so for us, we ought to stay humble. And Mr. Nick already did this last Sunday about Philippians chapter 2, verses 5 through 8. and that's to have the mind of Christ. So, simple cure for pride: stay humble and to have the mind of Christ. Thank you for your attention tonight, and we'll close in prayer. Lord, thank you again for your goodness to us. Thank you for your book, the Bible, for preserving it for us, that we can know the mind of Christ, that we can know what you want for us to do, Lord. Help us to have the fear of the Lord, Lord, and that's to hate evil. And Lord, one of the things that you hate most, that's an abomination to you, Lord, was pride. Help us to be Christians not filled with pride, but to be filled with humility. And Lord, I know that the message tonight wasn't as clear as I'd like it to be. But Lord, thank you for allowing me to just learn much about pride. Help us to stay humble. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.